I have Devin, Kyle, and Eli. Kyle, raise your hand.
That's me. What's up?
Eli, raise your hand.
The handsome one.
There we
Oh,
go.
sick.
Yeah. So they're lined up in order of their names. It makes it way easier on the screen. Okay, so here's what we got today. We got the same outfits on. Both have beards.
It's
I mean, come
always
on.
the same.
I know.
It's
I
Yeah.
know.
All right. I'm going to go backwards here. So Eli and Kyle have released a brand new book today that's going to hit a bestseller list any minute now. I've been watching it go all day. Heck yeah, I've already got my copy. Freaking awesome, guys. So stoked for you. They've been doing group coaching and consulting and all that stuff for years. They have an incredible solo retreat process that I've been able to go on where you go for like 3 days somewhere alone and you actually get your whole reset done. That's actually what got me to the point of selling and exiting that business we've been talking about that we just exited a month or two ago. So awesome process. They're clients for 2-3 years now, something like
Something
that.
like that.
We hung out in Palm Springs, California at one of our events. Freaking awesome. Devin Sizemore is somebody who's been in our world for 3 or 4 years now. Devin is somebody who's been in our coaching program. He's spoken at our events. He's somebody that I refer a ton of business to. He refers a ton of business to us. Phenomenal coach, phenomenal connector, one of the great super connectors in our world who actually
Uh,
knows
I can
tons of
attest to
stuff.
that as well.
He
My
is
inbox is flooded like every day with new connections from Devin.
literally.
And
Yep.
he has, yeah, right. And I don't know how you keep up with it, man. But one of the
Yeah.
things that Devin, just if I can give you a little bit of positive feedback, and this is for everyone here, just listen to this. My entrance into the US market has been about 12 months. I've received more personal introductions from Devin in the past 6 weeks from when I was first introduced to him than anyone has provided me with in the previous like 15 months that I have been here. So Devin,
Crazy.
you've been phenomenal. Thank you for that. I would just like to get each of you very, very quickly to just do a quick introduction about why you do what you do. And while they are doing that, guys, this is a panel, which means that you all at home get to ask them questions around business, life, success, the experiences in the programs. And I would encourage you, these guys are a couple of years ahead of where you are right now. If you have questions about scaling your business, your group coaching programs, your impact on the world, ask them. These guys are legends and they will give you some phenomenal answers. So while we wait for those questions to come in, Devin, why do you do what you do? What's the impact? Tell us a little bit more about you.
And before you
Yeah,
say it, Devin, we have 40 minutes left for people to join our program at the price they've been given today,
Oh,
which is deeply
I
discounted
need to join.
or valued. I don't know, it's crazy. Anyway, you got 40 minutes left, folks, just so y'all know. So ask your questions. Let's rock and roll. 40 minutes for this panel too. I think you guys got to go earlier, but let us know when you got to go.
All right,
Devin.
Devin, tell us about you.
Yeah, it's great to be here. And Kyle, I saw you mutter at legends. They set the bar pretty high. I don't know who they invited on, but yeah, I'm on a mission to facilitate 1 million connections. And in order to facilitate 1 million connections in the world, you've got to write a book, you've got to attract a lot of people, and you've got to have mass impact. It can't be one to one, it has to be one to many, and it actually has to be beyond that. It has to be many to many. Which means I've got to build strategic relationships, not just client relationships. And I've got to attract the right brand partners to come alongside me to do that in a big, big way, many of which are sitting in front of you. And so that's my mission, right? Is how do we do that? And yeah, shout out to Chris for giving me the courage to price myself at the right price years ago. And congrats to Kyle and Eli on your book launch today. Excited for you guys.
Beautiful stuff. Guys, write into the chat courage if you need a bit of courage to charge what your services are really worth. What your services are really
That's good.
worth. Yeah, good stuff. All right, Kyle and Eli, tell us a little bit about the impact that you guys are having on the world.
You want to kick us off? Or you want me to go?
You go for it, dude. Go for it.
Hey guys, my name is Eli. Kyle and I, we are on this mission to implement stillness as a strategy. And we're doing that through structured solitude. And that is what we're so passionate about. We've seen hundreds of people go from, lacking clarity to clarity or life transformation when they're at this pivotal chapter in their life, new transition, roadblock, whatever that might be. Stillness has been their strategy. And then when you layer on the structure of guided prompts, meditations, journals, that gives them that outlet to really focus when they're doing that and giving themselves that permission to disconnect. So that is our mission, and it has been an amazing ride with Chris the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Do you have anything to add?
I would
Carl?
just say the biggest thing also about that mission is in the back end after Solar Retreat, we put people into a group coaching mastermind program. And that's where we've really seen a lot of growth and a lot of movement in people's lives because they come out of the Solar Retreat with their aha moments. But the group coaching is where we actually see the change happen. And without that accountability, without teaching people and coaching them, they would just be left at that. Oh, I'm doing really good for 2 weeks, right? As we all listen to podcasts and read books, you're motivated for 2 weeks, but after that, you slide back. And so having that group coaching portion afterwards is absolutely key.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. There's a question that's come in, but I want to just ask you guys a quick question because it's relevant to everybody here. You recently changed your offer, right? And I was a part of like we were talking and supporting each other with different things and whatnot. And you guys went from this big thing down to structuring the offer differently so that you could sell differently on the back end. I just want to ask you, was it scary for you to change the offer midstream?
Absolutely.
Yes, it was scary, but I'm going to add this, but
Add some color. Come on. Shock it.
after like talking to people like Chris, talking to people like Devin to get validation, to see that they have such a breadth view of what everyone's doing in the coaching world and saying, hey, we need a soundboard. Is this the right direction? It's nice to have that soundboard. And so it was scary because you're like, are we going to lose clients? What's the market look like? But after getting that soundboard out there and kind of talking to people, it was like a switch. All of a sudden we changed it because we had validation and it exploded, quite frankly. And we're grateful because of that validation. So it's scary, but when you have support, it's not as bad.
Amazing. Great answer. Thank you so much for that. And also it's great to hear. I was around when you guys were doing this the last time we spoke. It's great to hear that it's going really, really well. So Donalyn says, how long did it take you to feel comfortable with the process? I'm assuming this is Donalyn, can you please just clarify? Do you mean comfortable with group coaching, or can you be a little bit more specific? Just unmute yourself so they know they're answering the right question.
Sorry, just comfortable with the sales and all that. It's the scalability part.
All right, who wants to tackle that first?
Give a little more detail around that, just real quick. Just make sure these guys have a little context. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm jumping in from 0 to 100 here with the group. But I understand group coaching. So how comfortable are you doing the sales and getting all that going that you knew that you could scale your business? And how long was it? 3 months, 6 months, 9 months? Did you really feel like, okay, I can really do this and make this work?
Do you want to go for it, Devin, or do you want us to take that? Or
Yeah,
doesn't matter?
I'll jump in for a second for sure. When I started with Chris, I was at capacity. So I was doing a lot of one-to-one consulting, very high end, and was super booked, making a ton of money, but just didn't have a calendar. And so it was really hard for me to buy into the idea that my clients would get more value in a group setting than a one-to-one setting. That was my first mental hurdle, which really restricted my ability to sell correctly, because as I was selling, I was saying what was on the screen or what the bullet points were and doing the positioning, but I didn't believe it. And so what happened is it took me being a steward of Chris's group to realize like, oh, damn, like I'm getting more out of the collective than I am out as the individual. And when that hit home for me, and I remember sitting on the meeting, Chris will tell you, I sat on the meeting, I was dealing with a lot of personal stuff in that time too. And I just broke down on the meeting. I was crying. I was like, guys, like, this business is kicking my ass, but it is successful. And that was the moment where I bought in. And what happened is the conviction caught up to what was coming out of my mouth. And so moving forward, everything we do is group, right? I run a free school community. We then move people into a group collective effort beyond that. All of it's group, because the impact in the group world is so high. And so once I bought into the conviction, the sale got easy. And then for me, I had to own the price point next, which was really figuring out, what is the right price point for the person based on value, not time invested, right? Because that's typically where I was calculating, right? As an individual consultant, we benchmark based on, oh, here's my time, my admin time, here's my hourly I want to make, and here's a price. Well, wait a second, that has nothing to do with the value you're producing. So there's some of my thoughts around it. So once conviction hit, super easy to sell. Once I bought into the value that my clients were receiving, much easier to align on it. And then I built the program after people paid me, which is another big nugget. Chris will tell you, right?
That's
Don't
huge.
do work.
That's huge.
Yeah, don't do work for free.
We have hammered that home. We have hammered that home. Devin, you've just said something that's really, really, I just want to reflect something back. So Devin has a very unique approach to sales, and it was almost impossible for me to get on his calendar, but I couldn't make the thing that he does to get sales. And so hear this out. So when you're first selling a group program, you are absolutely going to be selling it one-to-one. It's necessary for you to understand all of the objections, all of that sort of stuff. But Devin is the connections person, and he does thousands of connections every single year. And so what he does now, instead of getting on one-to-one calls with people, he's just like, this is like the transition that he was talking about with like transitioning into coaching. He's transitioned his sales process into a group model as well. Every Monday, he gets on a connection blitz with people. Anyone that's referred to him, anyone that's like even interested remotely what he does, he goes on. And the way in which he does it is remarkable because he provides them value first. He gets them onto the call and gets them connected with the next who in their business. And he shows them that this is what's possible when you work with me. And then people fall over themselves to work with him. So I just want to highlight to everybody that there's multiple ways to skin a cat. He's gone group for everything, which is really, really cool. We've gone into group selling as well by doing these things. Well, I've helped Chris get into that model. And so, Devin, you're a really, really great example of like that meltdown that you kind of had, right? And then seeing like and going and seeing the forest of the trees and like parting the trees and then going, okay, cool, this is the path that I'm on now. Beautiful stuff. Kyle and Eli, what about you in terms of like your comfort?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question too. The thing that Kyle and I did right when we jumped in, or maybe right before we jumped in with Chris, was go to a ton of events and spill out our offer like off of our chest. And Donna, what did not feel authentic was just out the door. And we were testing and talking to hundreds of people at one time in a weekend, in an event. We would go and we would say something and it just would roll. It would get sticky off the tongue and wouldn't roll off. And that was the offer that just did not work. And then we would come back, we would refine it, and then we would test it again. So you ask about being comfortable. That was the litmus test for us to be comfortable, was to get out there and talk to people, see what they reacted. If they're like, what does that mean? Or, oh, that's really cool. We would then double click into that a little bit further. And then that's when we started to integrate a group aspect, because group aspect and group learning is like 10 times faster when you do it in a group environment. And that is what Chris's program is all about. And that's what we learned through some of those initial periods of testing.
Yeah. And I'll just add on that. We went to the extreme level of, we live in Oregon and we were invited to this small networking event of very high value, high dollar individuals in Utah with an offer that we thought was good and it wasn't good. And we're like, wow, we feel broken. But we came back, went back to one of the calls with Chris and everyone and said, hey, this is what happened. And what was really cool about that is it was like a hot seat. And then everybody in the group just started dissecting what happened. Let's look at the offer. How can we change it? What, blah, blah, blah. And it was an amazing experience because we were getting real world focus and real world examples of like, wow, these people it's not hitting. And we just spent $3,000 between flights and hotels and food to see if it would work, because we wanted to talk to the exact market we thought we needed to get after. And we were completely wrong. And so having, again, I know I keep coming back to this, but having that validation with a group of people that are going through the same thing and someone like Chris, who has done it over and over again, is crucial in the success of what can happen in your group coaching program. It really is. Coming from individuals that have spent a lot of money testing to see if it actually works.
True.
So
True story.
On the testing side of things, and you guys falling on your face a little bit at that event, the experience of putting yourself out there and then having that and then coming back into the group, that lesson, how much money do you think that lesson has made you? Even though it was a $3,000 investment, it felt like a loss at the time. Since then, how much growth has that allowed you to have because you put yourself in that position, you put yourself out there, you took the risk of investing?
I would say like a 10x jump. Easy.
I would say today is a perfect example with the launch of our book.
100%.
Because we did that and we fell flat on our face, we're selling hundreds, if not thousands of copies today of our book. So like that right there is a perfect example of like that ROI. I totally cut you off. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Like just like today is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're used to it.
I think it's back to what Devin said as well, which is sell it and then build it. Jump off the cliff and then build the parachute. I think that is exactly what we were doing.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. Okay, we've got a great question here from Walter. Says, I struggle with attracting the right prospects. How quickly can building the marketing or attraction aspect happen?
Devin, you want to jump in on that one? We can jump in, whatever you want to do. I think that's
Yeah, I say I'll go. Yeah, I'll go. I'll give you some. Yeah, this is where we'll just dive into the weeds for a second. So my approach to this is totally different. So I'm going to give you the random answer, and I'll let the marketing geniuses give you the other answer. So don't go after clients and then grow your business. So let me say it one more time and then dive in. So don't target clients and you'll grow your business. So my whole philosophy is we go after the 6 buckets of people that have access to our clients. Those you already have in your current database, your current network. If you look at your LinkedIn, your database, your CRM, your email list, you already have contacts that know, like, and trust you. Everyone on this call does. The issue is when you're only looking at that database and contact list with the prospect mindset, it's very limited, right? Who's qualified? Oh, I'm pitching them again. Can they afford the budget, right? There's so many barriers. So we eliminate all of that. We go after the 6 buckets. Where do our clients spend money? Where do they seek education? Where do they gather? Who has influence over them? Who do they trust? And who's a general connector? Those are the 6 buckets. The 6 buckets, every single person on your contact list falls into one of them or has access to people that fall into one of them. It changes our ability to just show up to meetings curious. So the real approach is go book a shit ton of meetings, pardon the language, but go book a bunch of meetings, have good conversations with the people. When you have those conversations, focus on the other person. And then what we're mining for is, with our new focus and new agenda based on our new offer, right? How can this person open doors that shift me from one to one to one to many to many to many? And if they can get me to many rooms, stages, podcasts, events, places of authority, where I'm in a room of referral partners, strategic partners, these places that have reached to my clients, that's how we move the needle. And so going back to this whole thing, I would tell you, take the pressure off yourself and don't worry about chasing the perfect client right this second. Go out there and have big conversations, sharing your vision and mission. Just like Kyle and Eli said, it's a great way to get at bats and test your pitch and test the language and test what resonates. And then go build and nurture your database to warm it up and teach them who's a good fit and let your database produce the connections for you. So long-winded answer, but hopefully there's a nugget in there.
It is a great answer, and I just want to build on that. I'm going to reflect back something that Devin has done that has made me a future client of his. So I'm not a client of his right now because it's not the right time for me. I have too much going on. But he has sent me these leads over the last 6 weeks, so many connections that are going to set me up for my event that I'm doing in March for these sorts of things. He has a brand partner program that I need to respond to an email that he sent me on earlier this week. And because he has provided so much value for me and so many connections, it is a certainty now that I will join and be one of his brand partners because of the way in which he has approached providing value for me. What he's talking about with nurturing your lists, your audiences, and all of that sort of stuff is the exact, so that's his focus and how he does that is his by providing connections for people before they're even in the program where he provides them with more connections. For you, your job is to provide people with insights and support and ideas and different lenses of looking at through things in your marketing before they've become clients. So keep that in mind as well. Remember what I said earlier yesterday, marketing is a love letter to your future clients. Get out there and get the message out. There are people out there right now that are just waiting for you to also ask the question too. Also ask the question, would you like to work with me? I guarantee you, many people out there right now don't even know how to work with you because you haven't asked. You haven't told them. All right, Kyle and Eli, your answer to this.
So, Walter, Devin's method is the best. One, it's organic. One, it doesn't cost you much, and you're leveraging what you currently have. On the flip side of it, if I were to offer another perspective, it would be from the digital ad perspective. So you ask, how quickly can you build a marketing and or attraction aspect to happen? Our experience, Kyle and I running 4 different companies and running a lot of digital ad campaigns, it is all about testing and testing in all different aspects. One, it is all about a very broad net, trying to find and test your audience. So maybe you've gone to the event, like we talked about with Donna. You've gone to the event. Maybe you found middle-aged women. You got some type of excitement there. Now go test it on a digital platform. If that works, great. And in terms of your metrics, I'm not going to get into the weeds, but you're looking for some type of engagement, whatever that is. Is it a like? Is it a share? Is it a swipe? Is it a watching 25% of a video? At that point, you're starting to capture an audience. But that honestly takes a couple months to just learn it.
It's a long time.
It is a patience game on both aspects, but that is what we've tried. We've tried the organic side and the paid side.
Well, we should share, when you figure out your offer and you figure out how to speak and the messaging
Absolutely.
behind it,
Yes.
especially towards, advertising and making sure, how many leads did we get in a 6-week period?
Like 600.
Yeah, we got 600 leads for the ad campaign in 6 weeks.
Yep.
So when you actually figure it out and dial it, and it has to be authentic to yourself.
It does.
We
huge.
went through, I don't know, Chris, how many renditions of our offer?
I think it was 173.
On the 174th, we figured it out. Finally, it hit.
True. It did.
Right? It takes time, reiteration, and figuring out. But once you can figure out that messaging, that's key. And then all of a sudden, it's like, wow, I have 600 people that want to buy into my program worth $10,000 at the level that we want people to be in. That's when you start seeing the growth.
Yeah.
And it takes time.
Beautiful.
It happened to all of you because we were sitting there in Chris's group saying, this ain't going to happen. Why can't we sell anybody? We can't even make $300 at this point. But once you actually figure that out, it happens, and it's really exciting. Yeah.
I think this is a really, really good point to tie in the power of iteration within a community. You guys, for 173 versions of your offer before you nailed it. I also just want to affirm to everybody here that you can get clients fast as well. You can get clients very quickly, and that is because of what I said before. There's people in your audience right now that are just waiting for you to say, hey, like, this is what I have on the table for you. And so in the first 90 days of the Group Coaching Academy, that's why we do the 90-day sprint coaching with you. The goal is for that investment to have paid for itself within the first 90 days, if not many more times over, which we've seen time and time again. So if you're feeling at the moment that, like, I don't know if people will buy, I'm nervous, I don't know if, like, I can get myself in front of the right people, that's why you join a program like this, so that Chris can helped all of these guys make sure that they are getting in front of the right people with the right strategy and all of that sort of stuff for you guys to get across the line. And there's a really good question. Oh, Devin, yeah.
Yeah, let me chime in on that to 2 times that Chris has been right. Don't let us
stroke that ego.
I would say don't. I hope your wife's not sitting in there. So I got on with
too
Chris.
Far away. We only have 200 square feet.
Yeah, so when I was in the program, it was funny. I remember sitting on a call and getting feedback on price point, right? And we were talking about it, and we came to a price point. It was about 36 grand for the year. It was a long-term play. And my next meeting was with a client. And so I always just test live, right? So I just went into the meeting and went, hey, this is my new price point. This is what we're doing. Like, the sales page, nothing lines up with it, but I went with the price point and I closed her. What was also interesting is Chris and I were on a call. This is very recent, on our new Trusted Brand Partner program. And I got on with Chris. I'm like, Chris, I think this is how I want to structure the program. And a couple of his team members were on there, and they're like, no, it's too many levels. You have too many offers. This needs to be simple. This needs to be the high ticket. This is how you do it. The next 2 calls were sales meetings for that program, pitched and closed both. So sometimes you just need that other person to sit there and tell you, you're worth it. You're driving that value. Go out there, because it lets you pick your shoulders up and walk into that meeting with the confidence needed to close. So, Brody, I just want to reflect that, man. Like, 2 times Chris held me accountable to the price tag, and I was able to, step up and deliver.
Yeah, and I think this is really, really cool. And then Chris is like, phew, it worked. We've spoken a lot about standing in the conviction of the value you deliver over the last couple of days. And there's a lot of people saying, hey, look, I don't know how I feel about charging 10K. You won't know until you ask the question. Just like Devin said, he's like, I didn't have anything set up for this, but I made the offer and they signed it at $36,000. And I think I shared with you guys yesterday, I made a $250,000 offer once that I hadn't thought at all. I just thought, I think I'm going to price this at $250 when I was on the phone, and I knew what they needed. And then they bought, and I was like, well, that just screws up every fear I've ever had about making an offer ever. And I'm never going to worry about that ever again. All right. The follow-up question is, Ron says, what type of events are you going to? I think that was in response to Kyle and Eli talking about them going into events and seeing. What type of events do you guys go to get in front of the right people?
We scour, just like we go on Meetup and just scour networking events in general. This specific event that I was talking about in Utah, it was an invite from from somebody that actually Chris introduced us from, Josh Tapp, which is an amazing individual. And he's like, you guys got to come to Utah, come talk to these individuals. There's like over $3 billion worth of net worth in this small room or something. So part of it is a perfect example of the power of an introduction that Devin is doing, and what Chris will do for you and what Brody's done for us. It's very, very powerful. And so you never know whoever's going to endorse and edify you and how that's going to actually end up working for you. So that was a perfect example of that. But we put it out there. Our ask when we talk to people is, hey, is there any events that we could show up to talk to people? Is there any podcasts we could show up to talk to people? Do you know an event host that we could speak and talk to people? So it's really just putting your feelers out, and we learned this from Devin, instead of having the focus when you talk to people about who can you help me sell to, you have the focus be who can you help me do one to many to? And that's been a game changer for us. And we learned all of that through the introduction we got from Chris to Devin, and it's been a game changer for sure.
Beautiful. Devin, what type of rooms do you put yourself in?
Yeah, I want to echo what you guys just said, and thank you for the kind words. I let people open the door for me. So I only go to events where I'm on stage now. I don't go to a room where I'm not speaking. And so that's where I'm at. But along the way, I only go to events where people invite me in. Hey, I'm going to this mastermind. It's amazing. You should come. Great. I'd love to be there. If you want to fast track that, go use AI and go to AI and just say, this is my target client. How do I get to these people? What associations are they part of? What events do they go to? Where do they gather? Where do they get together? And just let it produce. Because what'll happen is it's going to tell you about the random one-off association or the random training or the random certification program you didn't know existed. Then go look at those events, and to start, get in the room, buy a ticket, show up, get on a plane, because you need to go figure out who's sponsoring, who's speaking, who's an authority, who's connected in serving the same clients or the same demographic. That'll start building your marketing and sales strategies so that you can shift from one to one to one to many. So today, only show up when I'm invited in. If you have to do the research, go abuse AI and then pay to be in the right rooms.
Yeah, beautiful. Just like you guys have paid to be in this room. It's a really good point. You paid to be in the right room for your next growth. We've spoken to multiple people like Stasia and Susanna. You guys are going to be joining. You're in the right room. It's just that they're not the right time for you as well, but keep showing up. Keep making those micro commitments, because those micro commitments will, and Chris said this earlier, like if it's not with us, like find somebody and get the help that you need. You cannot be an island in any of this. And one of the things that and this is my bias, like I'm an events guy. As you guys see, I'm dancing, I'm carrying on at these sorts of things. There's just something powerful about being in the room, about creating community and getting there. And so when you guys are thinking right now about how do I get my next client, I think that's the wrong question to ask, just politely. It's the wrong question to ask, because the question you should be asking is, how can I serve, like, how can I impact more lives today? How can I serve multiple people? How, to Devin's point, how can I do the many to many, right? The other stuff becomes inevitable when you go past the immediate question and go beyond to the future stuff. So just keep that in mind as well. But that doesn't discount you from doing the work right now to get in front of the people that you need to get on the one-to-one sales calls with either, right? There should be a multi-pronged strategy here, and you need to do the initial marketing first, and that's your first validation, to Kyle and Eli's point, putting the message out and seeing what people respond to before putting yourself in a room like that. Beautiful.
Is it Susanna? Is that the next one? The what if you don't?
That is the next one. Yeah. Yeah.
Can I be on the panel for just a second? And these other guys.
No.
Sure, Chris, take all the fame, man.
What do you do if you charge 10K and no one buys? Susanna, great question. That will happen. The worst thing that can happen to any of you is that you go out and build a $25,000, $30,000, whatever your price is, program, and the first 5 people buy. I mean, cool, made an extra $100,000. Yeah, you. But you didn't learn anything. And eventually 5 people in a row aren't going to buy. And then 10 people won't buy. We have to teach you how to deal with what happens when the break happens, because the break always happens. The market changes, the economy changes, the whatever changes. You got to figure out how to get that offer right. My first 17 sales calls, first 16 were fails. I sold my first person for that first group coaching program that I told you about when I was leaving, in Russell Brunson's program. The first 7, we sold 7 seats in the first 7 weeks. It took me the 17th phone call before somebody bought. So I swung and missed 16 times. That's okay.
Yeah.
It's totally normal, and it needs to happen. So it's like riding a bike. We're going to get you up there. You're going to be wobbly. That's all right.
Yeah. When a kid falls down, they're learning how to walk. They don't just give up on the walking.
Be kids. Be
Right.
kids.
Yeah. And like I've shared the story with you guys. I bombed that first event. One person showed up. I've bombed so many times since. I'm the events guy, and sometimes sometimes I have issues with my events because something goes wrong. It happens, and you learn from it, and then you iterate, and you get better and better and better. So Susanna, you just keep going. You just keep going. That's the short answer. All right. We need to wrap up the panel now. I don't think there's any other questions. Stasia, you're talking about testing. Can I just say right now that that's coming later for you, I believe. So I'd say it's a question for down the line. I don't want to get too distracted, but there's a whole suite of stuff you can do in Facebook ads and with your CRM and all of those sorts of things that can support you with that. And when you jump into the program and you get to the Chris's boardroom level, which is what these guys are all at, they will go through all of this stuff with you. Okay. All right.
Sorry. Thank you so much.
Devin, Kyle, and Eli would love for you guys to leave us with some parting words of wisdom for everybody here. They've got 11 minutes left on their experience with us. What message would you like them to walk away from the 2 days with?
We wanted to share one thing rather than a message, just share something. Chris has made a huge change and difference in our lives. We've known him for, I don't know, Chris, how many years now? 6 years, because you were on our podcast years ago.
Right.
We have this book we came out with today called The Art of a Solar Retreat. It wouldn't have happened if Chris didn't introduce us to Devin. But more importantly, we have a dedication page on here, and I just want to read a little part of the dedication page. Part of it says, "To our mentors, Tim Allen, Scott Ballard, and Chris Williams. Thank you for believing in us even when our vision was still taking shape. Your wisdom and encouragement have guided us more than you know." And so Chris has made a huge impact because we took the leap and we took a step in faith to join his program, and it literally changed our lives. So everybody here, you are here for the right reason. Is the timing right for all of you today? No. But there are a few you in this room that you're sitting there saying, wow, is this right? It's too good to be true. This is it. If you're ready to actually take a step, elevate, and make a difference and change in the world with impact, and you have something that is burning and it's a passion inside you, Chris is the individual to talk to make your passion and purpose turn into profit. And we attest to that in our book because the dedication and what he's done and helped us do. So thank you, Chris, for everything you've done, man. We really appreciate you. And that's from the bottom of.
Wish I could give you guys a hug. Thank you. That's so kind. Wow. Thank you. Thanks for saying that. Can't wait to hold a copy of that book. Huh?
Devin, what about you? It's hard to beat that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, I should have went first.
I'm gonna say ditto. I'm just gonna, yeah.
Pretty good. It did flow pretty good.
It did. Yeah, I'm not saying anything. I'm gonna mute my mic later.
Yeah, I have two things I want to say. So the first thing I want to say is that, you're here for a reason. And so I want to echo what Kyle said, right? I went to Palm Springs and added value for a full day in the boardroom and met Kyle and Eli, which led them to a book, which led to us having a friendship and relationship and all sorts of stuff, which led to Brody, which led to, you're in the right room for a reason. So there's no way that today's not worth your time, right? The people in front of you are worth it. The assets you have available are worth it. There's value here. Again, time may not be today. That's fine, right? The thing I will tell you is being a business owner, it's a lonely journey. And so if you're not part of some group somewhere, if you don't have a mentor and coach or multiple, and if you're not doing it with other people, the world will kick your ass at some point. Right? The break's going to happen. The thing's going to happen. The wall's going to show up. And so you need to put yourself in an environment with other people who are walking the same journey, with people who are walking it ahead of you, faster than you, and better than you, and that will hug you and pick you up and say, I got you. That's what you need. And so if this is your group, get in it, because I can tell you, Chris is one of my dearest friends. And I share this and I'll leave this with you to speak to his humanity, because I think this is why we buy from people and work with people. When my dad passed away, one person texted me every day for 21 days, every single day. And that person was Chris Williams.
Wow.
So if that doesn't speak to the human that's sitting in front of you beyond just all the impact he will have for you, I don't know how else to tell you. Chris is an amazing human, and I appreciate you, brother. And I love what you're doing in the world. So thank you.
Thank you, Devin.
Wow.
Appreciate you so much too. Wow.
Everyone, please give it up for Devin, Kyle, and Eli spending their afternoon with us.